All right, we've got a couple graphing calculator problems that we're going to look at here. Here's number 23 of all of our review problems. This is one of those vertical free fall motion problems. Let's find the maximum height and the time that it takes to happen and the time that it hits the ground. Okay, so we got Patrick. Okay, the formula here, remember that I will give you the formula, but you got to know what all those variables stand for. And our situation is Patrick Mahomes throws the football towards the end zone with initial velocity of 85 feet per second and an initial height of 6 feet. All right, so see if you can answer these questions. At what point, or what is the maximum height of the football? At what point does that happen? And when will the ball hit the ground? Unfortunately, they didn't catch it, so it hit the ground, let's say. Okay, so work through this problem on your graphing calculator, and then I'll ask you one of those questions that you have to submit as a multiple choice answer. All right, good luck. All right, here is all of my work for this. I'm going to kind of go through this because I know this is a little bit harder problem. With that formula, the things that you would enter, I already gave you the -16 because it always ends up being -16. You're going to put in the initial velocity of 85 feet per second, and then the 6 feet is the initial position or the initial height. You put this in your calculator and you graph it. You pick an appropriate window. So think about how long a ball is in the air. It's not in there very long. I went from 0 to 10 seconds. That's plenty. I said 0 to 200 feet. I don't know really, but I threw it in there and it was a decent number. Okay, so this is kind of what my graph looked like. Remember that it started at 6 feet high, so I tried to make it not start at the origin. Then I went and found the max height. Remember that you do that in second trace, and then the maximum is number 4 there. And I found the maximum height to give me this ordered pair. On your test, you will have to interpret that. What does that mean? Okay, the 2.66 is your x, that's the time. The 118, that is your height. So I'd write a sentence, and this is what I'm going to look for in your test as a sentence. The max height is 118.89 feet at 2.66 seconds. Okay, got it. The other question is when will it hit the ground? So you can see that the ball went up, it comes back down, it hit the ground right here. All right, this is an x-intercept, so I'm going to find it the same place that I find the max and min. It's called a zero, the x-intercept or the root or the zero, a lot of names for that. So if you go to second trace and find the zeros, you will find that it hits the ground at 5.38 seconds. Right. Here is our next problem. This is more of a scatter plot problem. Plot and find the regression, interpret the slope, find the weight of a 7-foot person, and find the height of a person weighing 170 pounds. So you're going to enter this data in your calculator. You're going to find the appropriate window, find the appropriate regression. It does say interpret slope. That should be a hint. And then I will ask you a question about it. You answer the question, and then you can see the results and see all the work that I'd expect to see on your test. Go give it a shot. All right, here's what I've got. So the first thing is, it wasn't beautiful data, but I did say interpret slope, so we should be doing a linear regression on it. On your test, when you sketch the graphs, I kind of want it to be what I'm showing here. I'd like it pretty simple. Give me your units. What are your labels? What's on your x-axis? What's on your y-axis? Kind of give me how big your scale is. Like just tell me what the maximum was. And so I went to a maximum height of 90 inches, a maximum weight of 200 inches. I'm sorry, 200 pounds. Now 200 is way, way higher than what the table shows. But remember that I was looking for the height of a person weighing 170 pounds. So if I'm going to look to project, I want to leave a window open big enough to catch that. When I ran my linear regression, remember you go to Stat, Calc, Lin regression, and you put it in your Y1, and this is what you end up with. I will expect you to know what these values mean, so I will ask you to interpret the slope. So this is your change in Y, so my weight is going to go up 3.86 pounds for every 1 inch in height. The other question that it asks, let's see what else we've got. It says find the weight of a 7-foot person. You can do that in second trace and do value because we already know the height is 7 feet. Now remember that this is in inches, so you'd actually put in an 84. And if you put in 84, you'd get a weight of 188.77 pounds. All right, the next question was a little trickier. Find the height of a person weighing 170 pounds. We had a problem like this on your quadratic homework where I gave you the y value and asked for the x value. All right, that spot in your calculator where you do second trace and go find value, that only works if you know the x. If I give you the y, that's a little trickier. You might have done some tracing or something to find that. You might have used your equation. In all honesty, it's a linear equation. It wouldn't have been terrible to do that. Typically what we do on our calculator when they give us the y value is we have this equation right here in y1, and then what I do is in y2, I put that y value that I want. And in this case, the y value I wanted was 170. Then what that will be is a horizontal line. Y equals 170. It's a horizontal line right here at 170. And what I'm looking for is where my line hits 170. I'm looking for that intersection. So intersection is one of those things that you can find in second trace, along with value and max and min. That's also where you can find the intersection of two equations. So I did that, found the intersection. It asked you kind of like the intersection of what? What's the first curve? And I say, and I put my cursor on the first curve, and then I make sure my cursor's on the second curve, and I'm pressing enter, and it finds this intersection right here. So when I'm weighing 170 pounds, I'm actually 79.1 inches tall. All right, so practice with that calculator stuff. Remember, I have videos. If you're iffy on how to do something on your calculator, you can always YouTube stuff. It's all over the place. All right, hope you're ready for the test. Thanks for reviewing with me.